we're in awe of what you have done, and what you're doing, and what you will do for each one of us, Lord. And we just thank you for your blessings, Lord. And we just pray that we can, in turn, be a blessing to those that don't know you yet, to those that don't even have an opportunity unless your army, the church, intervenes and does something about it. Lord, so we ask you to be here again this afternoon. Pray for your Holy Spirit to move on hearts on what you would have each person to do, that we can be a mighty team, a mighty army in these last days to show the world your character. We pray these things in Jesus' name. Amen. All right. Were you all in to hear the Smiles video? It's my favorite. Did you all hear this? It's my favorite video of all the videos, and it's called the Smiles video. And I don't know if any of you have ever heard of Jasper. He's the photographer in many ministries. He put this together. So enjoy one more time, and then we'll get started. A little higher.
I love you, Lord, for your mercy never fails me. All my days I've been held in your hands. From the moment that I wake up till I lay my head, I will sing of the goodness of God. 'Cause all my life you have been faithful, and all my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, I will sing of the goodness of God. I love your voice. You have led me through the fire. In the darkest nights, you are close like no other. I've known you as a father. I've known you as a friend. I have lived in the goodness of God, yeah. 'Cause all my life you have been faithful, and all my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, I will sing of the goodness of God, yeah. Your goodness is running after me. Your goodness is running after me. With my life laid down, I'm surrendered now. I give you everything. Your goodness is running after me. 'Cause all my life you have been faithful, and all my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, I'm gonna sing of the goodness of God. I'm gonna sing
tears in my eyes every time, But so we're going to find out a few more projects, and then we're going to go into what happens in America. Some of the secret project we have going on. One of our highlights from 2024 was the blind school in India. We have a video on that.
A couple months ago, we received a request from our office for eye exams to be done on students at the blind school. Rather than just assuming that these children didn't have the potential to see, it was felt that having a proper professional exam done would determine whether any of them could regain or gain some sight. We were surprised when we received a report back that several students were excellent candidates for eye operations. One particular girl by the name of Nandini had previously been able to see about 10 to 15%. After the surgery, her sight is now 90%. We were able to interact with this young girl. In fact, we wanted to quiz her a little bit to see if this was really true. First of all, she could not stop smiling. She was constantly smiling. You could see the joy she was experiencing by seeing all of these different things for the very first time. So the question was asked, what is in my wife's hair? And she said, there's yellow flowers in her hair. And I said, are you able to, because there are petals that were there, are you able to help take some of the petals out of her hair? And very meticulously, one by one, she was able to remove those petals, obviously clearly seeing what she was doing. And just a few minutes later, she was with a group of children, and we walked past, and she waved at us, clearly seeing us as we walked past her. So this is a very rewarding result from these eye exams that were done. There are several other students where progress has been made and additional surgeries will be required. But it's so rewarding to have a partnership here with the blind school, with leaders who truly care about the well-being of these students and want to go the extra mile to make sure everything possible is being done to help them have a future that is filled with hope and a bright future. In particular for this young girl, this has completely changed her life.
Okay, another thing with everything that's happened with the USAID, I'm sure you've all heard, and the issues that happen with ministries that are connected with government funding. We are 100% donor funded. We have no links to anything that's going to limit our ability to spread the gospel and do what God's asked us to do. And we have new cards today that have many more things we're going to go over today than the cards this morning had. If you wrote out a card this morning and you decide, I want to get involved more, we will just use the card of your higher donation. And you'll have 2 cards in the basket for the drawing, but only one of them will actually... We're going to have a drawing a little bit. We have a few gifts that were made by some of our kids. So we're going to have 2 or 3 drawings. So here's another one from India.
Recent studies indicate that there are 30 million orphaned or abandoned children in India. India is a country that is considered to be third world because more than half of the population is below the poverty level. We saw this in visiting the villages. They're very remote, and the individuals living there are known as Dalits, which is the lowest in the caste system of India. Dalits literally means broken and scattered. And so there is a lot of need here in India in terms of reaching out to the orphans and helping to meet a need and fill the gap for these children who have such loss in their life. Our team here at the Sunrise Home look at government studies to determine where the most vulnerable communities are located. This is where they want to bring children from to attend here at the Sunrise Home. Those kids who wouldn't have a chance otherwise. They really would not have opportunity to rise above that without the education that they're receiving here at the Sunrise Home. When we arrived here at the Sunrise Home, I was excited to see Jacinth again. He is the first child my wife and I sponsored through Child Impact. As I greeted him, as my wife and I were there together with him, one of his teenage friends made a comment to me, "He talks about you guys every day." Wow, that really struck me, to realize how significant our relationship as a sponsor is to this amazing young man. I let him know that we have his picture in my office to remind us of him as well. So this is a very special boy. We look forward to going to his village to meet his mom again. He's orphaned. He's a single orphan. His father passed away. His mom is a sustenance farmer. She doesn't make enough to give him the opportunities that he is getting here at Sunrise Home. He wants to be a computer engineer. He's a very bright boy, and I believe he'll be successful in that dream he has for his life. When my wife and I were dating, she told me she wanted to have 10 kids. I was taken back, but I didn't believe she was possibly serious about this. She didn't mean 10 biological children. She had a heart for adoption, and that desire grew inside of me. And so when we found out about 2 boys from Latvia that were looking for hosts to come and visit for Christmas and for summers, we immediately signed up. And that is how Andres and his brother Daniel became part of our lives. One thing we learned very quickly is that Daniel was looking out for his younger brother Andres. In fact, he was the big brother protector. Nobody dared mess with Andres because Daniel had his back. Like many of the children here at Sunrise Home, Andres and Daniel came from a very difficult circumstance. They were abandoned, left alone at a very young age, trying to fend for themselves. And yet, we had the opportunity, because of God's calling on our lives, to make a difference for these boys, to bring them into our family, to become part of our home, to become Evan's children. And I have felt from the day that they arrived at our home, that our home is better because of them. When our son Andres passed away on April 13 of 2023 after a long battle with leukemia, there are many individuals that wanted to have some kind of a memory of Andres that would carry on and wanted to financially make that possible. So we decided at that point to set up a fund at Child Impact in Andres' honor. As funds came in, we began to wonder where best we could honor Andres among all of the projects supported by Child Impact. As my wife and I considered all of the projects around the world that Child Impact is involved in, it became very clear to us that we wanted Andres to be honored at an orphanage because he grew up in an orphanage. And we know the difference that having a family can make in the life of a child. And so we are so honored that right here on this campus, there's a building that has been erected in Andres' honor. Andres, all he could dream about, all he wanted was to be part of a family. And we found that to be true here for the children at Sunrise Home. Because of the love of Raj and Lalitha Varma, these children now have a family as well. And they have lots of siblings. So we are so happy to see these children find a community, find a family like we were able to provide for Andres.
They do so well with those kids. And again, if anybody's interested in adoptions, you can get a hold of Tom. Here's some web pages and where you can go. But Tom and the team at Child Impact can help you with that as well. The human trafficking stereotype. What we've all heard about, some men with a white van in the parking lot grabbing the kids and throwing them in the van and disappearing them. Well, that's not really the way it works. In Hollywood, yes, but more likely this is what's happening almost all the time. Who is the most vulnerable to trafficking in North America? Any suggestions or ideas? Social media users. In the United States, what demographic consumes the most social media daily? Any guesses? Which one? It's actually the 17-year-old girls. 17-year-old girls. Here's a chart. The average adolescent screen time, but right here, 17, 62%, 5.8 hours a day. That's probably conservative estimate, I would think. The top risk factor. And this is a low. I one of my other presentation, a newer slide. It was 36% I've seen on another slide. Reported receiving a sexual approach or solicitation online in the past year. And the problem with this statistic is many go unreported. So it's a lot higher than that. 11 to 13-year-old girls is the most likely to be targeted by online predators. And the next group is 7 to 10, believe it or not. Online recruitment accounts for 65% of trafficking cases in the United States. And what they mean by recruiting is they're talking to your kids, acting like another, say it's a 10-year-old girl, another 10-year-old girl, or someone their age, but it's a predator. And they're, sometimes they'll spend a year or more gaining their trust and then talking them into meeting them somewhere, and then they're gone. At night, we lock our doors. Some of us alarm our security systems, thinking our children are safe at home. The internet bypasses all that, leaving them vulnerable to predators. Dating sextortion. A guy and a girl share explicit photos with each other. What happens when they break up? Or if one wants the relationship to go further than the other? Or photos are shared with friends? Or the photos get leaked on the internet? Here's one of the, this is a good example. Ryan Lake from San Jose, California. Straight A student. Member of the Future Farmers of America. He's a victim of global sextortion scheme, and he ended up committing suicide. How many of these teen suicides are, we don't have numbers on that, but I can only imagine that many are comparable to this. The FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center reported over 54,000 sextortion victims in 2024. And I'm sure that's low because half of them probably don't get reported, or a high number. Even in gaming, we think these kids' games like Roblox, Discord, Fornix, I think is another one, they're promoted as safe for children, but they have these chat boxes, the chat rooms. Adults can contact minors through direct messages while pretending to be children. Then they request explicit images or attempt an in-person meeting. 2024, Roblox had more than 85 million daily active users. An estimated 40% are under 13. So it's a real threat to our kids. Now we have artificial intelligence. Deep fake, digital altered images that use the individual's likeness, mapped onto a photo or video of someone else. 98% of these are pornographic without the victim's consent. So this is going to be getting worse and worse as the AI thing goes crazy like it is. Pornography. Barna is pretty reputable, take stats, right? And they're saying in 2024, 75% of Christian men and 40% of Christian women reported consuming porn on some level. And you can help in sex trafficking by simply refusing to participate in the production, distribution, or consumption of pornography. That'll help. I don't know if anybody's heard of OnlyFans, but this is taking the country, our kids, by storm too. I mean, the allure of this pornographic website is the stimulation of personalized dating. The experience, the creator/model, and the client. And then you can read the stats there, but what is the title of someone hired to impersonate an OnlyFans model and engage with their subscribers? Anybody have a guess on these? Imposter, chatter, scammer, bilker? What? They're called a chatter. And this is what happens. Chatters don't just respond to messages. They actively drive sales. Trained in fan psychology and persuasive writing, they know when and how to make offers, time discounts, or introduce new content drops. Introduce content drops. By maintaining daily conversations with fans, they're thinking this, these are on the side, taking the models and thinking that they're having a relationship online. By maintaining daily conversations with fans, chatters keep them emotionally invested and more likely to spend. Thinking they're having this online relationship with whoever the picture is. So the solutions. I know this is all real dark, but we need to be aware of what's really happening. So the solutions for children/youth. And we as parents and uncles and aunties and grandmas and grandpas, we have to be willing for our lovely children and kids we love to not like us for a little while. The solutions are us getting educated and doing something about it. So the children, we need to convince them to never share a photo, right? But the solutions for parents. Check the phone and computer of your son/daughter regularly. Be their friend on social media. They don't get privacy on the internet if we want to protect our kids. It can't happen nowadays. Install a parental control app like Aura or Bark. Establish a rule of no phone in the bedroom at night. That's huge. You want to get one angry at you. I've dealt with some of my cousins that stayed with, or our nieces and nephews, Sarah, that stayed the summer at our house up at the lake. And no, you're not having a phone. That was war. But she still loves me. I mean, it was a little tense for a little bit, but we got to be willing to do some of these things. Lead by example. Don't overuse social media. Say no to pornography. We can't be on our phones all the time and telling our kids, don't be on your phone all the time. What are you doing? When we're, right? Have transparent conversations about the dangers of the internet. Here's another one that's not on there. If your kids or us, we should have our computers and while we're online, it should be in a family group area where they're not left alone to it. And they shouldn't have their own phones. No matter, but I want to be able to contact them. There's more danger in them having their own phones than you not being able to get in contact with them. It's not the white van, remember, and the guy hauling. It's private time on social media that is the kids are in danger with. The vulnerabilities in the USA. Social media, the Instagram, TikTok, Reddit, X, sextortion, we talked about that. Pornography, OnlyFans, Pornhub, or 4 million other websites. Saturated out there. There's a thing called Romeo pimps, where boyfriends turn traffickers. When things go bad, they end up just trafficking the exploitation of visa applicants and visa holders. The disappearance at the border. We know about that in the last 4 years. What is even the government saying? There's 320,000 missing kids that disappeared while coming across the border? They're starting to find a few of them now, but that's real. Then runaways. The foster care system, huge. We're going to have a little bit more here in a minute on what's happening with the foster care system. Drug addiction. Vulnerable and underserved communities. Runaways are approached by a trafficker within 48 hours usually. 1 in 5 runaways and unhoused youth are victims of human trafficking. The foster care system. There are tremendous numbers of kids. A multitude of kids are being sold as sex slaves today in America. These are American kids. American born. 50 to 60% of them coming out of the foster care system industry. It's an industry, it's not a system. 23,000 foster care children age out every year. This is a huge problem in America. Only 3% finish college by the age of 26. 20% become instantly homeless. 20% of 23. How many is that? That's 2,300 plus another 4,600 kids instantly homeless every year. 25% are incarcerated within 2 years. And if they've had 5 or more placements, it goes up to 90% in 2 years. Incarceration. And 60% of the girls end up in the sex industry. That is sobering stats. You know, that's another thing we, as the body of God, need to get. Just as I've been studying these stats, it made clear to me that's not right. Here in America. This is in America. What state in the United States has the highest incidence of human trafficking? Any guesses? No, actually, Texas. Houston was the city that had the highest trafficking. It's actually California. You can see this is the red. California. It has 5 cities in the top 20. Who is the most vulnerable to trafficking in developing countries? And now we're going to move into everything that we studied is in your magazines we handed you about America. But who's the most vulnerable in trafficking in developing countries? Any guesses? What? No, who? Not where. It's actually the poor. It's a completely different thing in developing countries people don't have the opportunity of what we're going to have for dinner. What do you want to have for dinner tonight? What kind of car do we want to buy? Or where do we want to go on vacation? No, it's like, is my family going to starve to death? Or am I going to sell myself to feed my family? It's less than half of 1% of human trafficking victims are identified. Another sobering statistic. So the vulnerabilities of trafficking in developing countries is becoming a sacrifice so that younger siblings/family can survive. The loss of the main wage earner for the family, unable to pay a debt, or responding to a fake job offer. We talked about that this morning a little bit. It's just a slide of this is here and where the truckers, a lot of these girls sell themselves to the truckers. What country has the most human trafficking victims? Anybody got a guess on that one? Where? Well, who said India? It's India. Every 8 minutes, a child goes up missing in India. 2 out of every 5 victims globally. Okay, now we're going to look at our new cards here that were handed out. This morning we had that box was in our card this morning. We're going to go through a few of our bigger projects we are doing this year. We'll learn about some of those. Here in Tanzania, God's doing amazing things in the Muslim community. We're going to hear a little bit about that.
Our partner here in Tanzania is Musa Mitakaro. He's the executive secretary of the division here, and so he travels to the United States from time to time. On one of his trips to America, I invited Musa to come with me for an interview at 3ABN, and afterwards we went to Olive Garden. As we were sitting across the table from each other, I asked Musa this question: is there a possibility of rescuing girls and bringing them to the Twing campus? He said, absolutely, yes, we can do that. When Musa returned to Tanzania, he began to explore the possibilities. What girls most need to be rescued? He talked to government officials and was able to identify a region of Tanzania on the border where girls are very vulnerable. They're part of Muslim families. These families are large, and as these girls reach a certain age, they expect that they will either work and accept a job or that they will get married as really a child bride. The tragedy is those work opportunities are often fake jobs across the border, and these girls can end up being trafficked. So as they approached these families and offered an opportunity for an education, for a Christian education, these Muslim families gladly accepted this on behalf of their children. 1 year later, I've been able to meet these amazing girls again. They are a lot of fun. They live life to the full. They've accepted Jesus, and most of them have been baptized.
Amen.
They have found a home at the Twing Memorial School, a safe place where they are loved and where they can flourish.
Those kids, those girls, were brought at Twin Memorial Secondary School to get their education, and they're performing well. What is more interesting, which touches my heart, really I could shed even tears. Here in Tanzania, especially in a Muslim populated area, winning one Muslim, one soul from a Muslim community, you would spend even 100,000, or you will never even get one soul. Even if you get one, the Muslim community can become angry and ban all the church, all Christian churches. But look at this grace of God. These girls came, all of them have been baptized. Not only being baptized, you have witnessed. They have a choir, they sing. They are able to preach. Actually, that is wonderful. You have done a great job. Child Impact International. You have done a great job which could have taken a Seventh-day Adventist church in Tanzania. It should have taken them maybe 10 years or 20 years to bring 33 souls to Jesus Christ.
I'm no longer the same. I'm no longer the same. Change my life, given me a new name. I'm no longer the same.
Yeah. Amazing, huh? And these Muslim families are giving their girls to Jesus willingly. So there's no anger and violence in the community. And what's going to happen in the next generation when these girls witness to the God is doing amazing things with that. Anyway, so what would you want Jamara's dream to be? A child bride? What would be your wishes for her? Fake job across the border? An orthopedic surgeon is what she wants to be. To rescue a girl in this program, to rescue them from Muslim families, it's $2,400 a year, $200 a month. It's rescue team expenses, transportation, medical care, dormitory setup, living costs for 1 year, and education for 1 year. And this is secondary schools, not like we had the rescue where we rescue $50. You could sponsor a child, and they got education and food, and I guess it's a little more. This is a little more here. But these are great projects for Sabbath schools or for someone that can afford to do something a little more incredible with coming into the Muslim communities. Amazing. Our next one on that card, you have there on that next line, is in Pakistan, where 60 billion bricks are made annually. And bonded labor is an employment agreement where the worker starts with a debt to repay. And they're usually illiterate, so they have no idea what they're signing. Usually taken due to a health crisis / emergency, only to find that repayment of the loan is impossible. These are indentured servants. For generations, they'll never get out of this debt. Human Rights Commission of Pakistan says at least 2 million children are working in slave-like conditions there. Some of the risk factors are toxic air, rape, sexual abuse, organ harvesting. I'm sure you've heard about that. China, it happens here too. Child marriage, sickness, hunger, lack of nutrition, and illiteracy is where a lot of these people, they don't know what they're signing, they don't know what they're getting into, and they'll never get out without help. So Child Impact we have a goal of setting 25 families free by December 25. And I know we've gotten, I forgot the exact number, but I think we've already over 10 families we've already got out of the funds to get them out. And here's the contracts where they have it's all legal. They have fingerprints, and when we set these families free, it's done legally. Go into the Muslim owners and actually sign contracts, free these families. This video is really hard to understand,
We are
but
thankful to Child Impact International Organization who give funds for all these families and to give them free from the slavery condition. We're really thankful.
ये ना ये ऐड चीज जरूर ना हाँ ज़्यादा चलो They have 9 kids.
9 kids. Wow. Wow.
so to rescue a family, it's $5,500 provides payment of debt in full, all living expenses for 6 months for the whole family, medical care, tutoring the children, and support in finding them a new job. These are great projects for a small church or even a big Sabbath school or a large family. Yeah, amazing. A whole family. So what you get a photo and profile of the family you saved, a 3 and a 6 month update, and let you know how they're proceeding, if they found work, and And the Kafui River isolated villages. Have you any of you heard about these villages? There's these islands, and Tom will tell you more about it. These islands, I think there's 28 of them up this Kafui River, and it's almost all kids. There's no adults. We don't know what happened to the adults, but here's a video.
The first time I visited this island in the Kafui River Flats, I made a statement that this is the most remote I have ever been in my life.
So I get on Google. I said, I want to see, what the extent of the other islands. Is it just 1 or 2 islands that have these villages, or what's the story? And so I got on Google Earth, zoomed out, and what I saw were dozens and dozens, I would say 30, 40 plus islands where people are living in absolute isolation, no access to medical, no access to education, and really no future. And so these forgotten children of the Kafui are basically forgotten by the entire world.
Because of Riverside Farm, the gospel has made inroads on this island. There is a church plant that meets there. Now it's time to bring education to this island, to give these children a chance to learn and to have an opportunity to see a vision for their life beyond simply mending nets, catching fish, sleeping, waking up the next day, and repeating all over again. So many of these children have a bigger future for their life if simply given an opportunity. When we arrived, I became engaged in a conversation with a lady on the island who knew some English. This dear lady found a discarded piece of metal in the village and had an aha moment. She said, this could be a chalkboard. And we have charcoal here that I can write on this piece of metal, and I can write the ABCs and words and begin to teach these children some English. When I shared with her that very soon she's going to have a real chalkboard that she can use, and that I would like to have her medal one as a memento to her efforts to bring an education to these children, it was so inspiring to see her vision now becoming a reality, that these children now can have a proper education.
And so what we hope to do at Child Impact is begin with this first island and then continue to the next island and the next island and the next island, each one of them having their own school and their own housing for missionaries to be stationed on these islands. In Revelation 14, there's an angel pictured flying in the midst of heaven. And it says that the angel has the everlasting gospel to preach to those who dwell on the earth. And these islands on the Kafui River Flats, I believe, are part of that first angel's message in Revelation 14 that have to hear the gospel. And I believe that's much more than just a 3-week evangelistic series. It's coming alongside of these people. It's living among them, doing life together, and providing services that meet their needs. And education is a huge need for the kids growing up in these communities, and we're really excited to be able to provide this service for these communities.
Okay, so that first island is the only one with a building that's getting any kind of, that Riverside Farms has been able to reach so far. Now that we're working so tightly with the Riverside Farms, we'll see more about. Here's another picture of that first island. What the kids do, those little tiny fish is all they have to eat out there too. That's what they survive on. And fishing. Tom meeting with them. So sanitation, none. Healthcare, none. Education, none. Church, none. Well, the first island now it's starting to make. And dreams, none. And to reach these, you heard Tom say that this is the furthest out he's ever been. So it would be impossible because these villages go on for miles and hundreds of miles. And, so they came up with the idea of float plane. Already been ordered. It's already there. That got handled last year. And you've seen the director there of Riverside Farms. He's a pilot, so we'll be able to. There's already a pilot to handle that are going to be able to reach these islands. So 35,000 provides a multi-purpose building for church/literacy school, teacher housing, and sanitation. That's one of the other big projects we got going. On these boxes. And then you get a little lower on the this is where I came into Child Impact. Explore a partnership with Child Impact through my business. So that's an option. And then we also have estate planning available now for anybody that's interested in that. I think it's and here's another guy in that linked his business. He's a big farmer in North Dakota. I met him last year at Child Impact. He donated the proceeds of one of his fields, this big field he's got pictures of. Another business that linked with Child Impact.
All of us come to a point when we have to really consider what our legacy will be. And when I think about my children and what they will sift through when I'm gone, what is left, what I want them to know is they didn't just have to read about a mission story, they could be a part of it. They didn't have to watch a rescue movie, they could be in the middle of that rescue. And when I think about my grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and further on, as long as time will last, they will ask, what were my great-grandparents like? What mattered to them? And that's where the legacy program really comes in, because what I want them to know is your grandparents, they cared about the prostitutes. They have found a new identity. They're no longer just something that was on the street that someone picked up. They are a daughter of the Most High King. I want my children to know that every orphan mattered, that every child mattered. And that's what Child Impact is all about.
There are resources that God has given to me, and I have determined before I die, I want to give everything that He has given me away. And we have expanded our giving exponentially, and what I was not anticipating was the promises that are throughout the Bible. Whether it's Malachi, return to the storehouse and I'll pour out a blessing so great you cannot receive it. We say those words so glibly, and yet to see it happening, I have more now than when I started this journey. And it's an amazing thing.
I really believe the book of Hebrews, chapter 11, is still waiting to be written. That's the legacy. That's where I want to see my name, right there. And that legacy is about what we do for the homeless, for those who do not have, for those who cannot do anything about their situation. The names of those who are taking care of the orphans, who really want to make a difference for the widows, the ones that are in that category of this history on earth. That's the legacy. That's the legacy that I want to leave.